Housing Secretary Robert Jenrick has said that mortgage lenders should no longer require safety information on external walls for properties in low and medium-rise blocks. In the wake of the Grenfell Tower fire in 2017, banks had been asking for so-called cladding forms and refusing mortgages if buildings failed safety assessments. Robert Jenrick said he hoped the change would lead to a market correction. Some MPs doubted it would make a big difference to leaseholders and were irritated at how the announcement was made.
Today I'll set out the key measures in the bill and update the House on the progress of our plan, including providing further detail on a written ministerial statement that I have just published, representing a significant intervention by the government and lenders in response to expert advice on building safety in medium and low-rise blocks of flats, and the use of EWS1 forms that I commissioned earlier in the year.
Remarks which caused a flurry of activity.
Is it normal practice that moments before an important debate with dozens of members down to speak, the Minister lays a ministerial statement, which is not yet online, so none of us are able to see it, about a matter before us, therefore avoiding any scrutiny of such said ministerial statement?
A Conservative wasn't impressed either.
All of the documents that are relevant to this debate on the second reading of this bill are on the table here, except the written ministerial statement that the Secretary of State has just referred to. For some of us that have been in the chamber for some hours now, I'm sorry, Secretary of State, that's not acceptable.
Would the Secretary of State care to clarify this matter?
I'd be delighted to, Madam Deputy Speaker. A written ministerial statement will be laid shortly, which is market sensitive, and it's difficult to suggest that there's no scrutiny because I'm here before the House to explain that statement in the context of the wider debate.
About 20 minutes later, all was revealed.
We cannot and should not presume systemic risk of fire in blocks of flats. I've quoted some of the statistics earlier, but let me repeat them. Dwelling fires are at the lowest point they've been since we started to collect comparable statistics in 1981. This is despite the fact in 2020 that people spent significantly greater amounts of time in their homes as a result of COVID restrictions. On this basis, expert advice includes 5 significant recommendations to correct the disproportionate reaction that we've seen in some parts of the market. Firstly, EWS1 forms should not be a requirement on buildings below 18 metres. This market is shaped not only by government, but by lenders, by RICS, the Fire and Rescue Service, and by fire experts. All of us need to act to achieve a market correction and relieve the pressure upon homeowners.
But Labour said the cost of remedial work on buildings under 18 metres would still fall on leaseholders.
This has now become a building safety crisis affecting hundreds of thousands of people. Young first-time buyers have gone bankrupt. Couples have put having children on hold. Marriages have broken down. Life savings and assets have gone. Retirements ruined. The mental health and financial toll is incalculable. Fundamentally, this bill betrays leaseholders who will still face life-changing costs for problems they did not create and who are trapped in unsellable, uninsurable, unmortgageable homes, notwithstanding some of his announcements today, which I fear will do little to resolve it.
A Conservative urged Robert Jenrick to get rid of previous building safety advice.
Leaseholders have done nothing wrong, but in January 2020, the Minister created a market failure, and we have a responsibility to clean it up. I believe the written ministerial statement the Secretary of State has laid today could reverse some of the damage he did, but it will need to be put into legislation, as speakers have already suggested, to provide real practical support to leaseholders, not just rhetoric. This could be a huge victory for leaseholders in buildings under 18 metres today, but only if it means the Secretary of State is withdrawing the January 2020 Consolidated Advice Note for building owners of multi-storey, multi-occupied residential buildings. Otherwise, it's just weasel words.
Stephen McPartland, and the bill now goes for more detailed scrutiny by MPs. Now,